Hi. I decided, because yesterday I made a video about this, finding ways to create my own comfort instead of going for my addiction, food, and receiving comfort in that way. So I wanted to start now creating more comfort in my life, and really paying attention to it, and really, get into that comforting sensation of belonging and being taken care of. So, really paying attention to the candles and I have this cup of coffee, how beautiful, and there's tea and there's beautiful music. And so today I decided, because I want to, classical music is something I miss, and it's something that was a big part of my childhood. Both of my parents are in classical music, and so I was like, wow, that's missing, and I really miss it. And so I decided to listen to Peter and the Wolf, and just sitting in my own space, closing my eyes and just enjoying that story, classical music story. And I realized something at the end of it. I wrote down, I'm gonna go into that first, because that's how I came to think of what I want to share. And let's see, where did I put that down? Where are you? I was writing, I dedicated a page for my inner child here. And here it is. I remembered I went to a beautiful children's store in Amsterdam, and I wanted to buy a gift for my brother's son. And it was like a wooden rainbow in beautiful colors, like a puzzle piece rainbow. And I went to her and blah blah blah, we talked a little bit, and then she said, in between all the talking, she said, it's for us anyway, this toy is really for us anyway. And this stuck with me, is it for us, and then it came to me when I was listening to this Peter and the Wolf, how can I'm truly enjoying this, but there's no child around me. And I didn't feel the need to have a child around me to enjoy this. So I just realized that, I'm not around children at all in my life. And I realized that if I'm not around children and engaging with children and diving into their world in a way where I can kind of reflect my childhood in their world, it's not that I relate to every child on this planet, because there's so many different childhoods, but those childhoods that remind me of my childhood, they are very comforting. So for instance, my brother, his children, they also have spent time with classical music and drawing and beautiful material, beautiful toys of a certain material that I also kind of remember from my childhood. So, and I really enjoyed that connection, and it's not in my present, it's not in my life today. So I realized that I am kind of I'm depleting. I'm supposed to be around children, or at least if not children, I feel this sudden awakening of whoa, I am missing my childhood, my inner child, because I'm not getting that resonance from other children, and I'm not, it's just an empty space with, so it's a bit difficult to maybe explain this, but so I thought, okay, if I'm not around children, if I'm disconnecting myself from children in my life, which is not it's a very new modern thing, you know, we separate ages, you know, in classes, you know, just the same ages are together, and the elderly, they go in their, you know, in their separate home, and the kids go there, you know, and the adults are here, and, you know, it's very separate. We live in an age of separation, you could say. But we're moving out of it slowly, and I'm just, I realized, like, yeah, so if I'm disconnected from children, I want to find a way to honor my child, my inner child, on my own then, you know. If I'm not around children, I want to do it myself. Because I feel like, yeah, my child is being nourished by it. And I see it like, I see myself kind of, I also talked about this in another video, I see myself really, I'm getting this, it's quite clear to me that I seem to be these three age groups within me. Like, there are 3 age groups, or 3 characters, or three souls, or 3 beings within me. So I have a child, and that is very connected to my childhood specifically, maybe also past lives and childhood in general. Doesn't have to maybe necessarily be my own childhood. Then I am an adult, and then I am also a grandmother, and I guess there is a connection to past lives. There's also a connection to my grandmother reflecting herself in my actual grandmother. So it's like just being aware of those 3 beings within me, and giving them all space and time, you know, like, so where do I have an activity for my child? Where do I have an activity in my day for my adult? Where do I have an activity in my day for my grandmother? And so there's nothing wrong. Like, I felt a bit funny, like I'm sitting here in meditation, in a meditation space, listening to Peter and the Wolf, and there's no kids around, it's just me. But it's really like, I felt super honest with myself, like, yeah, we're not, I saw it like, we're not engaging with children and playing with them for them only. We're doing it for ourselves as well, for our inner child. So yeah, I wrote here, I can read a bit about from my notes. I wrote, for instance, the more I resist my childhood, the more I'm likely to become addicted. It's like, you know, it's just kind of this, this neglect of my inner child, imbalance between my 3 beings, the child, the adult, the grandmother. So too much attention for the adult, maybe I could say. And then I also wrote, this is a little bit on a sidetrack, but I thought it was interesting as well. I said, what I would choose to provide my child with should ideally be something my child could return to as an adult seeking comfort for its inner child. So, you know, if there's a lot of abuse, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of neglect, a lot of junk, a lot of unhealthy relationships, or whatever it is, you know, just then it's not very likely that the adult will be able to find comfort for its child, like where to. So it's, you know, so I just thought this, for if I have children in the future, I'm gonna be very aware of what am I providing them with that they can return to as adults for their inner child, you know. And I feel so grateful now for the childhood that I have, because I always look back with yeah, it's like there's definitely a lot of comfort. It wasn't only good and only joyful. I had a lot of difficulties. You know, my parents, they split up and so on, different things that, but there were definitely beautiful things in my childhood, and yeah, I'm allowing myself to be nourished still today by those things. So classical music, this story, and perhaps I'm gonna go into also illustration, and yeah, I don't know, kind of, yeah, with that focus in mind, like nourishing my inner child. I was in a Waldorf school for a few years, and I also worked in a Waldorf kindergarten, so I very much connect with the visual art in the Waldorf education system. So yeah, so you know, thinking about, so where am I giving time for my child, you know? Do I draw? Where do I play? Where do I listen to a beautiful story, you know? Where do I read a beautiful book? Where's the playing, you know? And where's the focus for my adult? Where's the deep focus and the intellectual part of me that wants to maybe solve problem solving, or just this logic and problem solving, analysis, and that part of me. And then the grandmother, maybe, you know, sitting with a cup of tea, going for a walk in nature, and caring for someone, being in service, kind of, you know, making my environment beautiful, cleaning, you know. So yeah, this is something I wanted to share. Something I'm going to pay attention to these next days, honoring and serving and looking after my three beings within me, making time, creating time and space for them, for all of them. And I think this might be another key to move beyond this addictive behavior. It's to not only take care of the child, that seems to be kind of like seems to be the main being that wants to go to the addictive substance, but it's not only the child, it's also just I think keeping those three in balance. So because you also need focus, you need the analytical and intelligence to also manage your addictive behavior, and you also need this wisdom and this calm and this taking care of and nourishing, this embracing element from the grandmother to take care of it. So it's like, it's all, you know, they're all working together so beautifully. So